Hi guys, welcome to Mo Studios. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be starting to put loads of tips up about Logic X, anything to do with making music or mixing sound design. Now today I'm going to talk about the fantastic stems that you can make in Logic X. I really recommend this. I've been doing it for about 2 years now, composing with stems and the exporting. When you want to provide music, what they call printed stems to a mixer, it's better if the sound mixer has the actual project in stem form, which is basically just WAV files. So now today I'm going to show you this. This is a plain Logic. I've added two audio tracks already. And the way I start out, you can actually do this with the software instruments or audio. It doesn't have to be VST instruments all the time. But yeah, what I'm going to do is create software instruments. So I won't load anything in for now. Let's just say that's guitar, that's the piano and drums. Now, at the moment, there's nothing on there. Once you do the composing, if you make some music, do some composing, once you've done that, obviously you've got the MIDI regions will appear here, here, and here. And then all you do is select the ones you want and create a stack. Make sure it's a summing stack. Yeah. And now you see what that's done there? So we'll call that band. Piano, drums, they're all under there, as you see, and they all mix out into here. And the same here, I could create some spare ones here, create track stacks. And we'll call this strings. So we'll have a cello, viola, and maybe a violin. This is just rough, this isn't the order I have them. I'll show you a template I work with shortly. So once you've done your composing, however long it can be, you then make sure you do this. Create a new MIDI region and then drag it. And we'll do it again here. Create a MIDI region. And you see what it's doing? Every time I do the MIDI region, it names them to what this summing track is. So we've got strings, we've got band. Okay, now all I have to do is that, file, export, and then two audio regions, or two regions as audio files, which means two separate audio files going to be created. What I do is I create, if we go, I'll just do this under, where should I put this? I'll put it here for temporarily. There we go. Turn off that overload protection. You do not want that, even though you shouldn't be that high anyway, but I always turn it off. Make sure you include the volume and panel automation, and then you can set whether you want it all in AIF or 24-bit. Fairly straightforward. Never hit the bypass effects plugins, because obviously over on your tracks, if you've put in any effects, you want to have them included. And the audio track will make sure that it always runs off about 5 or 10 seconds at the end, just allow reverbs to roll off, basically. But I'll never bother with that. I always end up extending these regions well beyond where I've recorded. So that's it. Now down here, you see I've got region name and custom. So what I'll do is, let's call this stem video test. So you can see what it's done there, file name example. And then what that'll do is, that'll add, I've actually got this set after, so the region name and then the custom. Now this is the custom that goes in this bit here. Region name will be band strings. So when I export that, you can see that it says band-stem video test.aif. It's that simple. So I'll do that. There'll be nothing in these. 1, 2, done. So when you come, this is where it will actually be located. Okay. So that was just a brief thing to show you what it will look like. But what I'll do is I'll go into a project now where you can hear and see what it actually looks like. So if I close this one down, right, do check it out. This is, obviously I do the music for Terrible Lizards with rathergood.com. And you can see here, this is Terrible Lizards, episode 01, 50 Shade of Graham. Okay, so we loaded up once you've plugins. I've loaded all my plugins in. So as you can see, I'm using Spitfire's Aperture Strings. Under the piano area at the moment, I've got harps, Spitfire's piano, a Celeste, got choirs, bassoons, clarinets, flutes, strings, tubas, horns, and yeah, they're all there basically. So I'll play that so you can hear. And there you go. So as you can see, that is literally, I've just played through how I composed in this project basically. In fact, I think I remember I started from scratch and built this template up for the Terrible Lizards series. But I do have project templates which have got so much in. But sometimes it's not worth that. Sometimes it's nice to go from scratch and have a fresh mind around everything. So what you do is, again, once you've done the composing, this is how it'll look once you've got your stems. It'll look a little bit messy. So just go in and then create a MIDI track and drag it to the end. And voila, there you go. See, it's done it already. Create MIDI region. Drag to the end. Same again. It will always open up the actual summing track so you can see where everything is. Oh, too far. What I might as well tell you is I do a lot of audio dramas and projects where I compose across nearly an hour worth of an episode. And rather than doing separate files for all of the music cues, I actually just have one whole long, massive project file. So you can imagine at the end, I do this, and these are all the way up here, basically up to like 57 minutes or something. This is where it really comes in useful. In fact, this is really good to do. You don't have to just have MIDI in here. Anything like audio files as well will be included. I'll add an audio file. So there's an audio file, but that isn't actually included in it. One thing to make sure, look here, you see the bar is missing? So just drag that up so it joins it in, and just drag that here, like that. See, that's now part of that. So anything I put on here will be included within this MIDI region of exporting. Now, I said to you about the, it's worthwhile doing this each time. Oh, I also tend to do this. There you go. Let's colour it purple, nice and purple. So there you go. Just makes it easier to look at what you're doing. It's such an easy thing. Once you've done this a few times on a couple of projects, you'll never go back. Once you've coloured it and done stems, you'll never go back. It just beats having to send them down to a bus track, printed stems, as I know some of the professional industry personnel do, but I don't know if it's a case of, because they don't really give any information on how Logic should be done with stems. So this is the way. This is how you do it. When I bounce this, so if I bounce this now, project, and I'm gonna just do a normal bounce. In fact, I'll bounce it into, I'll put it as non-stem. There you go, do that. Now, you see how long that's taken? Granted, it's only got to do it at once, but it's a lot of processing power, as you can see up on the CPU. And I mean, I've only got 16 gig of RAM in this Mac, and sorry, 24 gig of RAM in this Mac, and it's one of the earlier dual cores, late 2014 model. So yeah, due an upgrade soon. Normally, if this was an episode of 57 minutes, I would literally, it would take a couple hours sometimes to do all these at once. Oh, and you can notice I've got the audio file up at the top. I don't bother bouncing that because, or exporting that because it's already in the master mixing file, which I'll show you next. And there we go. And it's sort of, I've always set it to also make an MP3. Done. Right. So that's bouncing. That's how quick it was to just bounce it. It's quite a while. If it was a 57-minute episode. So then go to export audio, file, export audio, and then you come up to this. You have to find. Sometimes you might have to find the folder again. And then remember, space dash. 50 Shades of Graham, and there it is. It's adding it on there. Make sure your volume pan's included. Don't bypass effects. Don't bother with audio tail. If you need to put a limit on, do. But normally mastering engineers don't like normalization or anything. So export. Watch how fast this does this. Well, one done. So what it's done is that's just exported the apertures only. It's now doing the piano. And then it will do the orchestra. And do you know what it's doing every time? Logic has actually took all of the plugins out of its memory, unloaded them really quick. It's basically said, don't bother with them. I need all the memory to do this stem here. And as it's going through, it's using only the ones on the selected ones that it's exporting. So you can see already, I mean, we're probably about here now if I was doing that bounce still. So at the moment, it looks like it's similar time on a short thing like this, but believe me, when you're doing long episodes, it can take a while. And while I'm here, actually, I'll do a bit more on this on another video for this. You don't say you only had a choir up the end here. You don't have to put the whole track of stems. What you could do is you could just have it so that the choir stem is here. And then when you load these into another project file, you just right click and tell it to move to the recorded position, and it will move everything to where it was. So I normally always go and get a cup of coffee or something right now anyway, whether it's a short thing or a long thing, because I think you deserve it. You've had a nice composing session. Have a fresh mind for the next stage. And there you go, you can see it's getting quicker. Bassoons, and then the choirs are last. So then you've got two options. What you can do is you could either do loads of new tracks in a new project and drop your stems in and start mixing away from there. Or you can do, as I've done because I'm in the middle of a production, I do it like this. And you notice that all effects under one area. This is when the guys sent me the Foley voiceover and ambience. And that's it. As you can see, I've got all my stems there. And that's it. That's how you do stems. And then the rest of it's down to you to do the mixing. And yeah, fantastic. I think it's the best way, actually. And you can probably grow from there as well and do different like short or long noted stem tracks. And I mean, it's such a, once you get your head around it, it's so easy. And pretty much all of the, I'd say about 95 of the projects I work on now, even the small corporate stuff, I just find it easy to do stems. And also a director might find that perhaps they don't like an oboe playing and it's on its own, or you might find the dialogues mixing in with a certain instrument like a clarinet or something, and so you can just dip down that clarinet rather than having one master bounce file to deal with. And that's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope I didn't bore you. So my name's Jamie, and this is the Mo Studios channel. And please subscribe and share, because I'm going to start showing a lot more things to do with mixing, sound design, composing, and hopefully help a lot of you out there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.